What are your thoughts with AI? Are you using AI? Okay, one of the craziest things that I've realized being in the media space.
In reality, nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't care if anyone watches this.
I was not ready for that shot. What is your prediction for the real estate market? You know that was
I knew it was coming. We're in an interesting time, as you mentioned, right? New president coming in.
Okay, so Shawn, welcome to the Influencers Podcast. Dude, so excited to have you on here. One of my favorite things about you is that since I've been following you, it's been a couple years now,
right?
You've been so consistent with your social media. And yeah, you've pivoted with seasons and stuff, but I think that's one of the most awesome things that I've seen, you do. And you've built multiple 7-figure business. How many employees do you have? 14 plus?
I think we have 20 now.
Oh my gosh. Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll dive into that a little bit. And then you've also built a YouTube channel over 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Dang, dude. So, okay, so with all of that said, dude, how important has content creation been for you?
Immensely.
Yeah.
I mean, to simply put it, it's been with me almost my entire life before it was even popular.
Yeah.
I got really back into content creation in 2008, 2009.
Wow.
And it's just grown and grown and grown. And back then, you didn't really need it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bonus. You didn't need it. Nowadays, if you don't have it, you're falling behind.
It's crazy. Yeah. That's awesome, man. And so, with that, one of the things that I've noticed with your business and your company is that you've created this culture of content creation. Mm-hmm. So bring us into that a little bit. How has it been? I follow some of your lenders on your team, and they're all doing content,
right,
but they're doing it differently. And I think it's just a culture that you built. So how did you do that? How did that start?
Yeah, it's kind of, kind of like game respects game. When you do content, people who like your content are drawn to it. So it's almost like when someone says, oh, this high school or college recruits, and it's like, no, they don't really recruit. It's just that if they're doing cool things, good talent wants to be a part of that. That's and cool. So, in my space, in the mortgage industry, from a company standpoint, not an individual or a loan officer or a lender or anything, from an actual company standpoint, no one pushes content.
Yeah.
And so when you see a company doing that, it attracts a bunch of employees or a bunch of people who are really content savvy or want to be content savvy. So yeah, it's something I wasn't trying to do. I was just thinking, hey, I'm big on content. We're going to focus on content. And because of that, we've attracted some great talent who also loves content.
That's awesome, man. So, okay, one of the craziest things that I've realized being in the media space, and some of our clients have been, lenders and stuff, but dude, every single time I work with a lender, they're all scared about marketing because of regulations,
right,
this and that. And so I think it's an excuse to not do it. Mm-hmm. So what kind of broke that for you? Because I'm sure you have to deal with the same regulations.
Right,
you can't share APRs,
right,
all of that stuff. So how did you break that barrier to just do content?
I basically went around the fact of, lenders get in their head about, well, my product is loans and rates and fees and loan products and all these things. And in reality, nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
What they care about is, can I qualify? What's my monthly payment? Is this going to be affordable? It's the really dumbed down basic stuff. So when you take that from a marketing approach, you're not marketing those things. I'm not marketing rates. It's impossible to market a rate because I can make a video right now, post it even by this afternoon, and rates can be totally different by the time someone sees that. So it's ultimately the message you're trying to get across is really just connecting with someone, and you don't need to get into the nitty gritty to connect with someone. You can do that over the phone when they call you.
Yeah,
right?
That's awesome. What would what are some things that you do with your team, to break that? Because I'm assuming you probably get that, kind of that pushback with some of your team members. How does that work? What do you guys do? What are some creative ways you guys kind of go around that?
Yeah, so you'll see our competitors, when they do have compliant marketing, it's the most ugly marketing ever because it's got a paragraph of disclosures.
Dude.
And
I actually had someone tell me you have to copy and paste that into the body of the post to be compliant.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and we do, because there's all these guidelines. We got federal, state guidelines. It's all of these things. And so, people at my company would be like, hey, I saw this other mortgage company post about this program. I want to make a video saying that we could do the same thing and talk about everything. And I go, okay, well, if you do, you know, you got to remember, you got to put in all these disclosures and do all these things. And they're like, well, yeah, I guess it's not worth it. Or how do I do that? And I go, back up. They don't care about the guidelines and the programs and the rates and things like that. They care about they can get into a home with no money down.
That's good.
Okay. That doesn't require all the disclosures, right? The second you start tying numbers to it, yes, you need the disclosures. So I do get the pushback, and it's just about thinking creatively to push content that does fit without having all that.
Dude, that's awesome.
Hey, real quick, I hope you're enjoying this conversation as much as I am. As you've been watching my videos, maybe you've been asking yourself, how can I make my videos look this good? Well, Elite Media is a full media and production company where we offer to shoot your content at our curated studio here locally in Fort Worth or at your preferred location, where we will bring our professional equipment to level up your videos. Maybe you're looking to set up your own space. Well, we actually help you source, order, and set up your space with the best gear to get you that same professional look every single time, all for a one-time cost. If you're interested in learning more information, you can find out how to reach us in the show notes or the description below. Enjoy the rest of the show.
That's awesome. You know, one of the things that I tell a lot of my clients is like, we can create content and it can be successful. It can go viral, get a lot of likes, a lot of views. But the reality is, like, we know, being in the business world, like, if we're not getting leads from it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, I don't care if I think it was Alex Hormozy that said it one time. He's like, I'm not in the business to like be known. I'm in the business to make money.
Right.
You know, and
which is totally separate.
Yeah, and it's totally separate. And so, like, what are, you know, like, can you break down some of the content that you've created where you're like, this was cool, it did really well, like, views wise, but it didn't generate leads, versus content that you didn't think maybe would have done as well, but it generated some leads? Like, what?
I have so many of these stories.
Yeah,
it's crazy how everyone gets tied to you have this video with 1 million views or hundreds of thousands of views. That's awesome. I'm like, that is awesome. And I made, you know, whatever, $2,500 on the ad revenue or something like that. But what really excites me is this video that's got 500 views that I closed 5 transactions off of.
Crazy.
You know, that made 10 times as much with way less traction. And so I have so many. I mean, I have one.
Yeah, give an example, dude.
Like, it's a top 3 credit cards for bad credit. And it's probably close to 2 million views, or maybe 1.5 million or something like that. And it's great. And people love it, and it helps a lot of people, and it's awesome. I don't think I've gotten a single mortgage off that video.
Yeah.
Versus I have another one that went viral, but not nearly as viral as that. I got about 10,000 views. And I was walking through a loan estimate, which that type of video needs tons of disclosures, but I was walking through a loan estimate from a competitor thinking, hey, I don't care if anyone watches this. I'm just going to send this when I'm talking to a client, and I can say, hey, I've got this video. Let me walk you through it visually.
Yeah.
And I made that, and then, you know, got 10,000 views, which was so much more than what I thought. And I probably closed 50 transactions off of that, because so many other people were going on YouTube or social media and going, you know, they want to see a walkthrough of a loan estimate. And then they would call me and say, hey, I saw your video. Can you help me? So you're in the business of business, you know, getting new customers and doing those things. So it changes your mindset on what kind of content you want to be creating.
Man, that's awesome. I feel like, you know, there's been so much content that we've put out, you know, on our page, and even just like past work that we've done. And there's like things that I put together sometimes, or the Malachi's editing, putting together, and then it's like, oh, this is going to do so well. You know, it's like, I'm excited for it, dude. And then you put it out and you're just like, what?
Dude, no one watched it. Like,
And it's like, I didn't get a single lead. And then it's like, then you post this like, you know, I posted some closing videos, and they're super sentimental, and like it shows a family is telling a story.
Right.
And then people are like, you know, sending us messages. Ever. Yeah. Like, hey, how much to do a video? You know, this, and that. And I'm like, that's crazy how like the, you know, certain types of content actually, you know, sell. And so what I wanted to ask you is, you know, probably going a little more personal on this side, but what are some insecurities, dude, that when you first got into the content creation, I feel like all of us go through it, right? Like, I don't care how confident you are, how good looking a person is, like there's going to be some level of insecurity, you know, these lies in our heads, whatever you want to call it. But what are some insecurities that you faced when you first came in, that you think others might be facing right now as they're kind of on the fence of doing this content thing? And what are some ways that you overcame those hurdles?
The biggest one me personally, and I think everyone goes through, is the first time they hear their voice.
Yeah.
And nowadays, since, social media is such a big thing, everyone's kind of heard their voice, but that is a huge insecurity for most people. And there's a big science on it, because we technically, when we talk, we hear our voice twice, internally and externally, versus when you hear it on a microphone, you hear it just externally because it's not coming from inside you. And you got to remember, I started this I started doing content when I was 12.
Yeah.
So I had not hit puberty yet, and my voice was super high, and I was like, man, I'm not going to tell a soul about these videos. And so that was a big insecurity for me, and I've kind of worked, obviously worked through that. Yeah. It's still always somewhat uncomfortable to see yourself, always. You're your biggest critic. Yeah. You're always going to be looking at yourself going, I could have done that better. Oh my gosh, I need to redo this because my collar was a little bent. And it's like, no one cares about that most of the time. Yeah. So yeah, I run through the same, I've made 4,000 plus videos at this point. I run through the same insecurities as everyone else. Yeah. And you just have to put yourself out there and go for it. And more often than not, people actually jive and connect with the insecurities versus having, a Ken and Barbie who's like, there's, like you think about it, a news anchor versus a true content creator. A news anchor is perfect, makeup, hair, everything. And you like it, you watch it, but you're not connected versus someone who's maybe disheveled after a hard conversation. You're like, I feel this person. Yeah. So the insecurities, if anything, you should lean into them. Yeah. And really take advantage of.
That's a good point. It's crazy because it's like, it's pretty eye-opening, especially like we do a lot of, client work. So we're filming a person, and typically like they are looking their best, right? Like they intentionally are showing up for this shoot. Like they did their makeup, they got their best clothing. Maybe they got a new outfit. And I always think about it this way. I'm like, and I show them the video, like right after we shoot him, like, do you like this angle? What do you think? Especially with the ladies. It's most of the ladies, of course. And, love our clients. Like most of our clients I would say are probably ladies. So not bashing on them. But I would say that like, it's crazy to me because they see themselves in that moment. And there's this like insecurity that kind of rushes in. And I'm like, it's just blows my mind because I'm like, I don't know if you've ever been to like an event, somebody captures a shot of you for me on the side, and I'm like, oh dang, my double chin was like really, I was not ready for that shot. But I'm like, you were ready for this shot. Right. Like this is the best you're gonna look, with just all due respect. Like, and they're still so insecure, and I just try to encourage them in that moment, like, it's okay. Like this is, I was telling Malachi, like when I was doing content this last year, like, cause I was going all in, right? Doing multiple videos, as many as I could. And I saw myself and I was like, oh dang, I need to cut some weight, and I'm like, I can't stop filming. Right. I just gotta change as I go, like if I really care about this, then we're gonna have to make some changes, And so I feel like a lot of people just get, stuck on that insecurity and they don't push through it when it's like the thing that can actually bring them through that breakthrough and success. And so it's just cool to hear your side of it, because obviously you did start so young, and then you grew into it. And so I love that. So like as we're kind of going into this new year, so many things changing with, president, like everything is like just different right now. So what are some things that you're seeing in like content space, like some trends that you're seeing that are successful or working and that you think might stick around?
It's a good question. It changes pretty regularly. Yeah. I would say the things I see right now that at least gets the most amount of engagement, which again, we talked about how engagement versus business might be different, but things that get a lot of engagement is what we were just talking about, is the super personal, potentially insecure type stuff. It's your real, right? So over the last 2 years, I would say, social media as a whole has gotten very polished, for the politically correct term. It's gotten very polished to where, you've got AI that's fixing the way people look. You've got, filters that are not just it's a cool little vibe. No, it's a filter that makes someone look like significantly different. Yeah. And so I think the last 2 years, everyone has tried to push that Ken and Barbie, that perfection, that go, and it's looked really good, and we've all been like, this is awesome. And I think now we're in this shift to where it's almost easier to do that now than be insecure or not insecure, to have some flaws or to have some imperfection. Yeah. And so I really think the trend moving forward, at least in the next maybe 90, 100 days. I don't know about the whole year, but I think at least during this time is the personal, how personal can you be? How real can you be on social media? And I think that's where most people are connecting with because anyone can throw a filter on and, you know, all that stuff.
Dude, that's crazy. It's so true because I've seen that too. You know, I've seen, you know, you have, especially in the real estate space, like when we do media for real estate, everything is so polished right now, and it's kind of driving me a little crazy just because it's like everybody wants to jump on these trends, and it's like, okay, I'm all for it, but like you still have to build your brand, you know, like if we do this flashy video for you and it's just gonna die, like it'll be okay for now, but like we talked about, right, it might get a few views right now, but if it doesn't generate you leads, you know, for weeks, months, and years to come, then we failed, you know, at this investment that you made in this video. And so it's so awesome to see that. I've noticed that a lot of real estate videos that have really been doing well is like when they tell a story, they tell the lifestyle,
it's all about stories,
you know, and it's like, this is what it's like to live here, right? And it's like, and it's not this like super polished. I think there's always going to be those people that want the high end stuff, and you know, there's a market for that. But I think everybody tries to do that, like the influencer, the person that's, you know, got the nice cars, the nice watches, all that stuff, and but not everybody has that same palette, you know, and so that's kind of crazy to me. You mentioned something earlier. You said AI. What are your thoughts with AI? Are you using AI? Like, how's your approach with all of that?
AI is incredible, and anyone who is saying it's a fad is gonna fall behind. And it's not in a sense that AI is going to replace people. I mean, maybe in years and years and years, but it's a tool, and it is an amazing tool. And with that, you can't just rely solely on it. It's like, hey, there's a shovel. The shovel isn't going to dig the hole. It's going to help you dig the hole. So AI should really be used as a tool. We are using it. We are implementing it. But again, a lot of people can start catching on when something is AI or has done that. So again, it's a great tool. It's a great supplement. It's not the end all be all. And going back to a little bit of the polishedness is you want to still be able to show people that you can create really awesome, cool content, professional, all that stuff. But you don't want to look like, well, AI scripted it. AI gave me the shot angles. AI, because it's just going to get too uniform and not as special.
That's crazy. Yeah. So even with AI, so something I was looking at the other day is like AI is like so advanced now where it's creating avatars for people, which is kind of wild. Okay. So I can't believe we're even saying this. You know, there's like, there are going to be accounts at some point that are fully AI. And so what are your thoughts with that? Is there, you know, a space where maybe some people can utilize this technology? Like what would you say?
I think it really depends on someone's industry and what they're doing, at least in the real estate space. At the end of the day, you know, a real estate agent, two real estate agents are two real estate agents, right? There's not too much of difference outside of their expertise and who they are as a person. So if you take that out of it with AI or with, you know, things like this, you're devaluing yourself as an industry expert or a professional. And so it really depends on the industry, because there are some cases where I could see kind of an avatar or something like that makes sense. If you're in maybe a customer service industry or something, maybe an online tech or something, like I could see that being useful, you know, someone who is a real life person, who's not a real life person, who doesn't get frustrated. You know, there is a space for that, but in a more higher end industry, I don't know.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a good perspective. Okay, so with that, you know, earlier we were talking about just like content, and then you mentioned something about, you know, you were creating a video to send it to your clients and stuff like that. So one thing that I've known about you is that you're pretty big on automation and making things like super easy. You've recorded videos, like a full like process of from getting under contract all the way to closing, and you have like a step-by-step. Like that was one of my favorite things with like closing deals with you was that I didn't have to give my clients as many updates.
They were getting it from me.
You were doing it, and it was all automated, and it was so cool, because then I'm like, oh, okay, this is where we're at, you know. And if they ask me, I'm like, yeah, we're in underwriting. Look, Shawn just sent this email.
You're like, oh yeah, let me check.
So let me tell you, you know. And so it's super cool because I feel like it's like you're bringing value to obviously your clients, which you know is the borrower, but also to you know your partner, which is the agent, you know, whoever else in the industry. And so, what are some ways that you know, some things that you figured out doing automation, and how can people get into this? Like, cause I feel like it's daunting. So like what, you know, how does someone like me get into this?
It's been a journey for me. So when I first got started 8 years ago or something like that, I wanted to automate everything. Wow. And so I put in all these automation systems that were so impersonal and so not good. It ended up hurting more than anything. And I think that's where a lot of people get in, is they go, oh, I can automate all this. Anything I can automate, I'm going to automate. And they do it, and it becomes so impersonal. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I had auto emails and text messages that would go out to agents and title and borrowers, clients, all sorts of people. And I had one automated text message that went out to like every real estate agent I had connected with that year. And it was like, hey, it was a Saturday or it was a Sunday. And I'm like, hey, I know it's Sunday. Just so you know, I'm working today in case there's anyone who needs to be, you know, pre-approved or pre-qualified or whatever, you know, let me know. Like I'm definitely available right now. And that text message to like probably 50 agents went out during the Super Bowl.
Oh.
And I'm like, people are hitting me up like, oh, really? During the Super Bowl? Or, oh, you're not watching the game? And I was like, oh my gosh, this just totally backfired on me because I was just thinking it was a normal Sunday. Yeah. And so you want to automate things, but you don't want to overdo it. And so what I've learned with automation really is automate the things that people won't know they're automated, or they definitely know it's automated, and that's okay. And you can even say this is automated.
Cool. Yeah.
People love updates. People love getting real-time updates. So when there's something like that, like the emails and videos you were talking about, I mean, they know it's a pre-recorded video. They know I'm not sitting there going, hey, Mr. Jones, congrats. You know, they know it's pre-recorded, but they still love those updates. So getting started with all that is really devising a plan of what can I do that would make it so people don't feel it's automated, or that it is highly automated and it's a waste of my time to be doing the same thing over and over again when it's okay to be automated.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that. I like that approach because I feel like, and the reason I asked you about the AI stuff, the avatars, I feel like a lot of people are going to try to create automations with AI avatars or just even AI, you know, in general. And I feel like it might backfire for certain industries, you know, especially like you were saying, this high-end industry.
It's tough from a liability standpoint because what if there's a mistake or something? Who takes the blame?
Yeah.
You don't have a person tied to it.
Yeah.
So
That's
the
crazy,
hard
man.
part.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just recently saw you post a story a couple of days ago, and you were asking people for addresses because of birthday cards. So like what, I know like you said on your story, you were saying like you want to just be more personal. You don't want it to be a digital interaction with people. You want to be, you know, send them a letter. And you've actually sent us, I think last year or the year before, you sent us a wine bottle you know, to all your partner clients. And then this past December, you sent us a card and, you know, a keychain, which, you know, was, or even an ornament, I think it was what we received. And so it's just really cool, you know, to see that you're doing that with all your partners. And I don't even know what you're doing with your clients and stuff. So that's really cool. But yeah, what are your thoughts behind that? Because I feel like a lot of people don't do that. And it's just an extra step. It's a lot of work, I'm sure. But like, how worth it is it for you?
I think a lot of people get caught up in the content, right? And they put on these blinders of only content, and it's great and it does do something, but you need the holistic approach. Your content's only going so far if you're doing other things, like you're sending emails, you're sending the handwritten cards, you're doing all these things, because ultimately it's a process that feeds and feeds and feeds. And so, yeah, with that story, you know, the goal was really twofold. One, to make it, to make everyone feel, hey, Shawn's not just here to connect on social. He wants a real connection with someone. I mean, when was the last time someone sent an actual birthday card in the mail? Like, it doesn't happen anymore. So every time I do send them, people are like surprised, right? I don't say, hey, I'm sending you a birthday card, you know, happy birthday. No, it's they just get it in the mail. And so really, the goal is I want everyone to feel, you know, that more personalized touch and connection. And two, it's easy to ask someone, hey, Danny, what's your address? I'm going to send you something. And that element of surprise is gone, but if you just got something randomly, you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I need to check in with Shawn. I need to reach out. So I use social media as a part of the system that just feeds and feeds and feeds.
That's awesome. And with social media, going back to that, what platforms are you like heavily investing in? Have you invested in and then are going to this year? Like, where are you staying?
So my background has always been YouTube, and that's always been a strong pull. This past 2024 year, we pulled off YouTube a little bit and went more heavy on Facebook, Instagram. And at this point, TikTok is more of an afterthought. It's we make the videos for Instagram or Facebook, and we've got content. We'll throw it up on TikTok. So I would say the ones we've seen the most engagement and the most lead flow or business generation from has really been your Facebook, Instagram.
Organic or like?
Organic. Cool. When we run paid ads, we will typically post something organically, and that's our test. That's awesome. How did it do organically? If it did well, okay. Once it's done and fizzling out, now we'll pump it.
That's cool.
Because I never like spending money on something we don't know is going to really do well.
That's cool. And those ads or those videos that you're putting money on, are those like, because they can be different types of content, right? So like, what videos have you put ads on that have done well? Like,
it's everything.
We've so even
done
like the funny stuff that
we've done funny stuff. Cool, so we've done one. I can't remember. It was a meme. It's that one meme where I can't remember the actor's name now. He's the one who plays, funny enough, Ken in the Barbie movie. Where
Ryan Gosling, is it?
Yeah, I think it's Ryan Gosling. He it's that where he's like at some award show and he kind of like, he like looks over to the side, and I can't remember like what meme we made of it, but it's one of those 1 second, 2 second videos that plays on loop, gets all these views and goes viral. So it got, I don't know, probably 10,000 likes on Facebook or like was going crazy. And once it fizzled out, I was like, well, let's pump it. Let's get it back in. Spent maybe $100 and then it went viral again. So we'll do funny stuff like that, which the goal with that is just build brand awareness, right? Get people seeing X2, get people liking, following, things like that. And then we'll do the more lead flow, lead magnet stuff. Hey, here's a video. If you need something like this, fill out the form, kind of thing like that. So we'll do it all. But I'd say that the platforms we see the most business from is Facebook and Instagram.
Really? That's awesome. So with, those funny reels or videos that you've put money on, have you gotten like any leads from those or those? Yeah, really?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's crazy.
So, and it's cool because sometimes it's really hard. A lot of people get lost. It's hard to track one-to-one, but sometimes we'll get it, through the lead forms, through DMs, through things like that. But also sometimes people just like it and they follow you, and then a month goes by or 2 months go by and they call you and they say, hey, I've been watching your stuff. And you're like, oh, this is awesome.
Man, that's crazy. It's cool that you go. And so my next question is about, how important it is to build a brand in it. And you just reminded me of something. I had someone come in and we're doing a consultation, pricing for content and stuff. And this person told me that he's been following me for over a year. I had no idea because I didn't even know what their name was or anything. And then I looked up and I'm like, oh, they do follow me. I guess I never seen, sometimes when you're looking at your metrics, you see who follows you, but you always, I guess, see the same people and you don't think anything of it. And so I didn't realize, but he was like, I've been following you for the last year. I know what you've been up to. I know what you're doing. It's so cool. I love what you're doing. And I'm like, you're already sold, right? As long as it's within your budget, like you're in this already. And so it just like, it showed me the importance of building a brand, and just showing up consistently because people see you. We always say in the industry, in the real estate industry, stay top of mind, right? And it's like, this is the way to stay top of mind. It's not so much the mailers, even though there's a place for stuff like that, but it's really social media. And it's like, it's crazy. So Shawn, in this year, 2025, like how important is it to build a personal brand or even just a brand? Because you have X2 Mortgage, which is a brand you're building, but then you also have Shawn Malkou. So like, how are you figuring the two out?
It's tough. You run the fine line of you want to be, you want to market and get business, but you don't want to always be, hey, do you need a mortgage? Hey, do you need a mortgage? Hey, do you need a mortgage? So it's a fine line, and I try to keep everything business related. Obviously, all business, everything right. That's about the business. So if someone wants to learn about it, they can go there and they see everything. Personally, I really try to do a 50-50, right? 50% business, 50% personal. And even when it is business, it's not, do you need a mortgage? It's jokes, it's fun, it's, stories, it's things like that. So yeah, the goal moving forward is to keep that balance and keep, because ultimately at the end of the day, you want people to want to see your content and not, oh, another video from Shawn. Or, oh, another video from X2, and just scroll. Yeah. You don't want that. You want them to always be engaged.
That's cool. I love that. So, okay. So as we kind of land the plane right now, Shawn, if somebody's like on the fence creating content, they're kind of, a little scared, maybe they don't know how to start. What are like 2 or 3 things you would tell them to focus on? Like, hey, start off with this, and maybe explain a little bit of each one. What are some thoughts, like 2 or 3 things? What would you say?
I'd say number 1, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
So many people analysis by paralysis. Off. Yeah. You just
that's good.
Or paralysis by analysis. You got to just do it. Yeah. Make a video. Yeah. Step 1, make a video. Yeah. See what you like about it. See what you don't like about it. Cool. Add that to your resume. You made a video. Yeah. Go make another one, and just build and build and build. So the biggest thing is, it's easy these days to make a video. So you could just pull out your phone, make something, and get familiar with, how do I like the angle? How do I like the way I say? How do I like the cadence that I talk in? Right? And just watch yourself and improve on it. So step 1 is just make videos.
Just do it, yeah.
Just do it.
Cool.
Number 2, I would say, get your focus on what you're trying to do with your videos. If you are trying, or I guess with your brand as well, what are you trying to do? Yeah. Are you trying to get people to connect with you? Or are you trying to get people to, think of you as some, really high-end influencer? Because that's going to drive what type of content you create. If you want to give off this really high-end kind of distance connection, you need really high-end content. Yeah. You need to have very professional stuff. You need to have really flashy things. And the second you kind of slip up on some of that, you're gonna give the wrong vibe or the wrong impression. So, but on the flip side, if you want it to be a really, I follow some people who are very sarcastic and raw, and they're entertaining that way because that's who they are and that's their brand. So get an idea of what you're trying to portray so it can help you create that content.
That's awesome.
And an example of that with me per se is, I come off as the information, right? Voice of reason. Hey, you come to me because I'm a source of knowledge on whether it's finance, credit, mortgage, whatever it might be. And so the content I push is that. It's good content that people can learn from. Yeah. It's not junk. It's not, always me doing something crazy, right? That's me. Other people, especially like at my company, they don't have that same feel. Yeah. Their brand is more funny, humor, it's that kind of vibe. So you really want to get an idea, and you can have multiple, but figure out who you are so you can portray really that. Yeah. So I'd say those are my 2 big ones.
That's really good. I feel like I love that first one because it's just doing it. I'm remembering when we first moved to Texas, and I was sitting in one of our bedrooms, and my family was there. It was just my wife and our firstborn at that time. And dude, I was so nervous to film. And I was like, the door was closed. Like, I was talking like so quiet because I'm like, I don't even want my wife to do this video. And there was like this insecurity of like, oh, there's somebody in the other room. And it's happened to my clients when we're filming. Somebody walks in and they're like, they get tense. And it's like, oh man, you're nervous right now. And so I pushed them in that moment. I'm like, just do it right now. Cause then it's like, now it's something that they've overcome, like if we let that person walk by, it was an opportunity, for them to like beat that insecurity. And so, and then I
love seeing that stuff too. Like when people overcome that.
Yes. And it's so, I love that too. I think that's what drives me. It's like when I have clients that I've worked with for over a year in the video space, and I see them now, dude, like they are naturals. And I'm just excited because a year from now, they're going to be even better. Like they might not even need a script anymore.
Right.
They'll just wing it, obviously like, we know Steve, and he's one of the people that I always think about when it comes to like just doing videos on the fly. The dude stutters, but when it comes to like doing a video,
he's ready.
There's nothing like, I'm like, you don't stutter. You're lying, like and so I feel like there's very few people that have that gift, to just like, obviously there's a well, of like knowledge, like you were saying, like you want to be known as the guy that's like, hey, I have the answers for you when it comes to the mortgage industry, the mortgage space. And so, and I think even with us, like, if I were to define the things too, like I would say number 1 for us would be just do it as well, rip the Band-Aid off. And then number 2, like for my content is like, I want people to know like like learn how to create content that has lead gen, you know, like that produces leads and stuff like that. Like we don't want to create content that's just like goes viral or like that's cool. It is cool when it does happen.
It's a dopamine hit. Yeah. You're like
enjoy it, celebrate it, but don't try to replicate it, and just learn how to get more leads from it. Like learn how to build a 6-figure business without the thousands and thousands of followers. And so that's amazing. One last thing, Shawn, what is your prediction for the real estate market? You know that was
I knew it was coming. So. We're in an interesting time, as you mentioned, right? New president coming in. We're in kind of this weird setup of people still think 2% rates are coming back. Yeah. It's a weird time. In terms of the financial markets, you know, we had hoped for rates to be trending down, but if you look at it, you know, I think I saw was 7.13% is the interest rate average over the last 50 years.
Wow.
And that's including all of that time where rates were super low.
Yeah.
So I think personally, no crystal ball, not real estate advice. You know, this is just Shawn Malkou talking, not mortgage broker Shawn Malkou. I think realistically, prices will still need to level. They'll still need to stay the same or barely go up, you know, like a 2% appreciation or something like that for at least another year, maybe 2 years. And I think rates need to slowly go down, maybe 0.5% by the end of the year. And I think if both of those things happen, we will get to a more balanced market. And I think for home sellers, you know, what your home's worth now is probably what it will be the whole year.
Yeah.
Maybe you get a little bump, maybe you do a little things here. And for buyers, whatever you're affording now is likely what you're going to be able to afford by the end of the year. So it's awesome. I don't know if there's much to be waiting on, and more so of we're going to be in this limbo mode for some time, unless something crazy happens with government and all that stuff.
That's true.
Yeah,
because that could happen, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, Shawn. So where can people find you?
Everywhere. You can find me on any social media with just my name, Shawn Malkou, or anything with our company, X2 Mortgage. It's the easiest mortgage company to look up. It's the letter X, number 2. Yeah, awesome. Pretty much everywhere.
Dude, so that's awesome. Well, Shawn, thank you, bro, for being on the podcast. First episode, so you get the first
I made
one.
it.
You know, it's exciting, but thanks for being on there. You're incredible. So thanks for being on.